Greetings, YouTube. Um, Recently I had a problem transferring some files from my computer to my phone. Now I had a connection with cable, so I wasn't going over any kind of wireless connection. And I transfer files to my phone regularly. I mean, I've got 303 gigs worth of material on this phone, I believe, at the moment. Almost all of it text-based, and about a third of it, which is gaming stuff, RPG stuff. And that's what I was trying to move at the moment, like an RPG PDF. It's just standard PDF. And it was actually a group of 5 files, just boom, juke, and it said, and I got this pleasant little tone, twing, and it wouldn't do anything. So I tried it a second time, twing, it wouldn't do anything. So I began to try moving the files over one at a time, and 4 of them transferred without a hitch. The 5th one would not. The only way I could get it onto my phone was to dump it into my Google Drive, then access my Google Drive on my phone, open that file, and then download it onto my phone, and then move it into the folder I wanted, which is more than a little inconvenient. So I reached out to like 3 of my smartest friends, and I said, do you have any clue what's going on here? Because I did a little Googling myself and found out that there seems to be a problem with sometimes computers not speaking well to Android systems. And one of my friends made a comment that he gave me some suggestions, some of which I tried, some of which I'm not going to do. I don't want to have to take the SD card out of my phone, take the case off. That's not worth it. In the rare occasion this happened, I'll just use the Google Drive solution. It's annoying, but it doesn't happen very often. I can literally move 100 files before I have one that won't move. And he said, well, be assured that even though you don't understand what's going on, computer programs only do what people tell them to do. So somewhere in that code is an answer as to why that particular file would not move onto your Android phone. And he's 100% correct. But what he's described to me is a black box. I am never going to learn enough about computers to understand what's going on. I do not have a brain that wraps itself around math and coding well. Um, the last time I touched coding, it literally was on a trash 80. Okay. Um, and I personally don't think it should be necessary for an end user such as myself to have to do that to have things to work the way you want them to work, particularly when the thing normally works and suddenly it doesn't. If I do A and B, I expect result C, just like the title of this video. If I get anything other than C, I want a clear and detailed reason as to why. Now, the reason for this is my own personal neurodivergence. I was raised in a household by an abusive alcoholic, being someone that has executive dysfunction and is neurodivergent. So things happened around me all the time from a person that made no sense, but I was desperately trying to find the patterns because I needed those patterns to stay alive. And I got to good at knowing some of them, but there were still things that made no sense to me. And there are still things that make no sense to me as an adult now that I'm 59. I mean, very shortly I'm going to be 60, which is a bizarre thought. But and I hated the idea that if I did A and B and I got C sometimes, but I didn't get C all the time, that drove me mad. And it still does to this day. It enrages me. If a system works once, it should work forever. And if it doesn't, there's something wrong with the system. I don't want to be told that there's a reason for it deep down in the code in that black box that you're never going to understand. If someone has decided that this particular type of PDF, I have no idea why, can't be moved from one place to another, I want someone to explain it to me. I want there to be an explanation. I want there to be not just an error message, but a message telling me, okay, this is going on because of this reason. I need enlightenment. I need an explanation. There's a reason I read tabletop role-playing game rules as entertainment because they let me move the veil away and I get to see how the world works. And it's all written down on pages with rules and mechanics. And all of it is neat and tidy and often has good tables of contents and indexes. And it just works, or at least in a good game. And even though it's incredibly complex sometimes, at least I can look at it and I can see, okay, this, and this, these, I don't like those. I don't need to use them because it's a fantasy. But at least I see how they interact. I see how they connect. I see why they are there. I can understand why someone put those things in those places to achieve a certain end. Tabletop role-playing games let me see the world in a way that I can't see this one. There's no way for me to pull the veil back and to finally understand human interaction. To finally understand why people simply won't do their goddamn job and do what's best for everyone around them. Why people are selfish bastards. Because it makes no sense to me. It just doesn't. If I'm walking down the aisle at work and there's a cardboard box that needs to get put into a recycling bin and I'm headed that direction, I just pick it up and I go. I don't care whose box that is. I don't care if it's the area that I work in. I don't care if those people work for me or not. I am headed in that direction. It causes me no effort to achieve that end. It's what you should do. Period. And why everyone doesn't act that way confuses me. So when my friend explains the coding thing, he was telling me the truth. And he meant it just as, as a humorous aside. But it put into perspective the things that drive me mad about the world at large. If I do A and I do B, I want C. And if I don't get C, I want to know why. I want to know what the parameters are so that I can avoid this situation in the future. Because as a child, avoiding those situations meant I got to keep breathing. So my connection to wanting to understand things, my connection for things, wanting things to make sense is visceral. I can't shake it. And I have to be honest. I think the world would be a far better place if everyone knew why the hell things are going on around them. If there weren't so many goddamn mysteries, then when there don't have to be. There are things that we will never have answers for within our lifespan. And I understand that and I accept it. But all the rest of the stuff, that confusion is created deliberately by somebody. And that's the stuff I don't want. I don't want it in my life. I don't want to be encountering it. I don't think anybody else wants it. And I don't want anyone else to suffer from it. I don't know what that makes me. I don't know what nomenclature describes that particular worldview. But not being cruel to others, not screwing people over, not setting them up to fail should be the norm. And when I couldn't move that file, I felt I had been set up to fail. It didn't work. I don't know why, and I never will.